It's Kato!
Everybody, it's Kato, and I have another episode of Presents. If you're not familiar with what Presents is, it's a time when a really great excuse for me to sit down and talk to other collectors, YouTubers, and pretty much anybody that I think is fun to talk to. So it's just a little thing I like to do to spread the love of the community and maybe introduce you to some folks you may not know. Today, I have Toys R Russ, a name that I've heard mentioned by a lot of folks, especially across the pond. Rudy Zazoo is in here. Borders Dude, you guys all know. Ultramagnus, you guys. This is old news to you guys. But I was introduced to him. I'd watched some of his videos before, and we got in contact with one another and defeated the time zone bosses and decided to make it work. So an early stream for me becomes an evening stream for him, and we run with it. So you guys have seen me enough. I'm going to bring in Toys R Russ. Hey, buddy.
Hi guys. You all right?
Yeah. So real quick, I want to say thanks to everyone that came in already. Mad Matt, Jay Holla, Borders Dude, Ultra Marcus, TF Cannon Fodder, Simon. Oh Lord, man, you brought in everybody. Larkin's Lair, Rudy, my buddy Rudy. Firebite is here. Shay, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Hello, Eddie. Yeah, thanks, Larkin. Once we're done here or in a separate screen, click on this and subscribe to Toys R Russ. Links are in the description below. Is it okay if I'll call you Russ?
Of course it is.
Awesome. Russ, man, we defeated the evil time zone entities and finally got it together. So tell the folks a little bit about yourself and your channel real quick to give them a little warm up.
Okay, so I'm 41 years old, obviously from the UK. I'm a personal trainer by trade, so hence me being on lockdown, sitting here now. Obviously, one-to-one contact isn't allowed. I've been collecting for probably about 25 years, let's say, as an adult. I did obviously collect them as a child, but I did make that silly mistake as a child and sell them all. I remember exactly the school fate that I sold them all at. But yeah, so I've been collecting for about 25 years. It's got ridiculously out of hand. I understand that. I'm lucky that I've got a understanding, we'll say, wife. She puts up with it. I think puts up with it better. I've got two small children. I've got a little boy who was 5 in September, a little girl who was 2 last month. And yeah, I've had this for so long and just, I don't know why. I can't exactly describe why I kept it hidden, shall we say. It wasn't really hidden. My friends knew, family knew, and like a couple of people, my colleagues, etc. knew. But obviously putting it on the YouTube was just something that started out as a bit of fun during the first lockdown, and it also backed up as a really good way of an inventory, obviously, for any insurances. So that was one of the main purposes, because thankfully they all are insured. But can you imagine me going to my insurance company? Oh yeah, I need to claim X amount for a toy collection, and then being like, yeah, sure, Mr. Humphrey. So this obviously proves that everything that I've got documented and inventories is there, and it's taken off. It's been really nice. Again, yourself, other people speaking. There's this lovely community, which I wouldn't expect anything less. But it's come rewarding as well. And as I say, using my wife as an example, she's much more understanding of the collection, because I get nice messages from people saying, oh, you've made my son's day, or you've made this, or you've helped me identify certain things. And that's the basic thing. The thing as well, I didn't want to step on anyone else's toes. Sorry, I'm waffling along, typical English bloke.
No, let's go ahead.
But rather than sort of stepping on anybody's toes, and I know loads of people do reviews and everybody does that. And although my videos are sort of reviews, it's more of like, I didn't want to do that. And I didn't want to do the initial transformations on camera, because it was literally just me holding my mobile phone. So I wasn't able to. And again, loads of people do that and they're very, very good at it. But with the angle that I wanted to go at, it was exactly like I think that you've said, and I think Ren the Collector 75 says, it's like a showcase. So because I'm stupid enough to have more than one of each toy, I can say, here's it in robot mode, here's it in car mode, here's it in a box. You can decide how you want to display it. And then the other thing that I'm really obviously fond of is the different variants. So I can really give a showcase, and here it is in 3 different timelines, in different packaging, and that's where it's got to the state it is, to be honest.
The crazy thing I think I noticed about your just the sheer amount of options you have. Like
Yeah.
you mentioned on your, I think it's on your Instagram description or whatever, that you have every G1,
Yeah.
every G1 release. Then on top of that, you have like I've seen some of your videos where you have like the international versions of the same character. Like I think you're going through trying to get the Italian versions, the ones from Mexico, and just, that is wild. I mean, I've
Yeah.
met a lot of folks that have some very big collections. I think you may have the largest collection of anyone I've spoken to, because again, you've completed every single G1 release.
That's just to clarify that for people jump on it. So that's the Hasbro release. So that's this
Right.
book here, which we've probably already seen. Everyone's seen this one or the standard book. So everything released by Hasbro, covering Generation 1 from 1984 to 1990. I've got nearly all of the Takara Japanese exclusives. But yeah, basically anything that Hasbro touched in them years, yeah, I've got more than one of, so I can display it in the modes, as I say. And that's pretty much again where it started. Being an adult, I remember it really vividly. I wanted an Optimus Prime and a Starscream again because they're the ones I loved. And then of course you think, well, I'm an adult now, so I can have Devastator because I couldn't have that as a child.
Exactly.
So then you start to get the ones that you never had, and then again, this book, I blame this book, because then I think, oh, I don't even. Again, with the UK, there's a curse of the UK with regards to the fact that I'm sure you've seen all these lists that we didn't get the Predacons, we didn't get Blaster his cassettes, there was none of the clones. There was so many actual ranges of toys and waves that we didn't get. So then it was a case of Swoop, of course, that was the massive one. No Swoop, all the Dinobots, but not Swoop.
Wow.
So then it became a case of let's get the ones that I couldn't even find, couldn't even have, and then of course, right, I might as well finish off that year. And yeah, that's obviously what's happened.
Well, Jay Holla is a good friend. He said he's definitely going to sub. You won't. And another thing outside of the collection you do, I've noticed that you also have a great Transformers comic collection,
Yeah.
and you go through on your channel and just kind of highlight the comic for a bit. But then you do something that I haven't seen very much of. You go page by page, not saying a word, and allow people to basically read issues of comics that they may never have been able to see.
Yeah, this was an idea. Again, I literally put number 6 up this morning. So, and I've only been doing 2 a week. So again, this was because lockdown was coming up, and I just thought, let's doing something. I know people do comic reviews, like you've said, but the thing is, and many people know that the UK comic went on for much, much longer than in the US, and we had so many different stories, and even some that I can't even remember, to be honest. But yeah, exactly that. So, like I said, quick overview, go through, have a look. There's all funny things like the A-Team, Knight Rider, and all things like that in it from the early 80s. But then, like you say, and I've put that in the description. Obviously, I'm not going to go so slow that I'm going to be like reading it like an audio book. But if I go slow enough and people can use the pause on their iPads, on their tablets, they might not even have to zoom in, because if I can read it through my little iPhone, then obviously all they need is pause. And exactly like you said, it's going to give everybody the opportunity to go through the entire run, all 332, I think there was, of the UK released comics. So just another idea that I thought let's put up there.
I think it's genius. I think it's a great way to introduce folks to comics. I was never able to read, hardly any, if any, of the UK comics. So that's exactly what I did. I would go through, listen to you overview it, go through the ads and the funny stuff that you see in there, and then pause it, read the comic. Borders dude says, "Hey, you got a spare Diaclone Power convoy?" Asking for a friend.
The funny thing is, with regard to Diaclone, and that does pop up quite a lot, and it's another little avenue that I probably would love to. I'm just a normal working class guy like you guys. The problem that I've got is bursting onto the scene with this. It might look that I'm a little bit more, or that, as I say, I've got to save, same as you guys. I've got to perhaps sell something to get something else. In Diaclone, unfortunately, I've missed the boat with that. I've got the Red Sunstreaker, I can't even remember its proper name. I've got the Microman, Microscope, and and it's not Microman, I know, it's an Estrella. I've got a White Cliff Jumper I've not done a video on yet. But yeah, they're too pricey for me. And I know I've got some really pricey things, but again, at the time, I was lucky enough to get them for much, much less. Or
well, yeah, you said you've been in that vein. How long have you amass this collection that way? Because I get that. I get it. It's easy to think nowadays that because you can eBay and
Yeah.
all these different ways to get things, it's easy for people to think that, hey, this guy started a channel up, a few months ago and
Yeah.
suddenly has hundreds and hundreds of Transformers. How long have you been collecting these to have such a collection?
As I say, definitely as an adult, just probably about turn of the century, to be fair. And I think it was probably because it was known as MP1, but in the UK we didn't have the Takara MP1s. It was the Toys R Us. I think it was that we knew it was coming out, so that came out. As I say, very very early in the 2000s, obviously 2004, but it was sort of just before that. Everything was sort of bubbling under the surface. There was talk of being a movie, etc. And I just thought, I'll go onto eBay and I'll shock myself and see the things that we had. And it literally was there. It was the fact that back then you could pick up a Starscream, near enough complete. And with my collection back then, it wasn't as complete as in the whole lot. It wasn't as complete as I didn't care if I had a Starscream with no fists and no weapons, as long as he had the wings and he could stand up and he looked all right on a shelf, he would look okay. And it just started from there. And I remember buying one collection and it had loads of things that I didn't even want in it, but it had a Darkwing in and a Dreadwind, which I've said in my videos, which I remember one Christmas just not putting down. It had them pair in, and of course just a couple of others, and the others weren't even interested. And sometimes you do things like this and you put your hands in your head because now I know what they were that I sold. But so the ones that I didn't want, because I didn't know anything about them, I didn't have that book, it was just purely on going what I had. I kept the ones I wanted and I just put them on individually on eBay, and I made back more than what I paid for the total lot. So I thought, right, this is good. I've got some free Transformers here. And then I just did a couple of that. And then again, this amassed to where it is. So a few of that, a few of just starting off really early when it was still, I suppose, possible. You guys call them thrift stores. We call them charity shops or car boots over here.
Sure.
Again, since everything's blown up, since Star Wars toys, and everybody now knows, that old toys are worth something. So you very rarely get them. But 20 years ago, you could go to a car boot and you could pick up, Optimus Prime's £1, £2. So what's
right.
$3-4 if that? Whereas nowadays, as well as I do. And of course, the other big thing is the Redfoot Prime. That was obviously made by Saber in France. Just over the channel. He's quite, I won't gonna say he's really easy over here to get, but you see them popping up all the time. So I had a couple of them, and they've both paid me dividends recently in the past. Wow. So yeah.
That's awesome. Eddie asks, is it hard to come by the exclusives or mainline where you live? So I'm assuming maybe some of the more current stuff.
So the new stuff, we used to really, really struggle. We didn't have really any of the Generations lines at all. There's a guy in America, actually, he's got an eBay store called Toyline Collectibles. And ironically enough, I just got chatting with him, and he was my main source. Along with Big Bad Toy Store, obviously, of getting stuff from America. But like literally all the Generations and Siege stuff now, this is all new. This hasn't been Titans. Where is it? No, sorry. Combiner Wars sort of just started the fact that we could get the Generations lines over here. Before that, we didn't get any. And again, with some things that we got drip fed, like the Fall of Cybertron figures, for some reason for the UK, they didn't give us any of, I think it was Wave 4, whichever the Ruination, which was obviously just the Bruticus redeco, whichever wave that was, they just completely missed it out. And funnily enough, with the Combiner Wars as well that's behind me, in the UK we didn't get the Combaticons 1, we didn't get Wave 2, which was the Stunticons. Motormaster, sorry, didn't get a release. We didn't get them. They just released a few. It was ridiculous. You couldn't get them all. We had to search on eBay, and maybe Kapow toys, I don't know, but I didn't really know much about the marketplace out there then. It was really tough to get the exclusives. Amazon exclusives, we never get the same Amazon exclusives that you guys get. Not at all.
So the question with that I'd ask is, you have a lot of nostalgia wrapped up obviously in your G1 collection and your desire to get the international versions. Do you have that same draw to get new figures or third-party masterpiece, anything like that outside of the older stuff? Do you have like a desire to collect and grab as many of those as you can?
That's a great question. Third party, I've just stayed away from. I don't know, not because I'm just, I love everything that Hasbro and Takara release, but I didn't want to go again down that sort of avenue, because then I'd have to probably get all the third party, and then they wouldn't look right together. Masterpiece, I've got a few of. The Masterpiece are literally, you can't see them, they're right behind you. So I think the last Masterpiece I got was maybe it was the 3 Autobot cars. Yeah, I'm just looking at them now. Sorry, so it was like Sideswipe, and they were just so much hassle to get. And we're going back Sideswipe, Prowl, them ones. And back then, I did actually, funny enough, order them from Kapow, and they were like £80. What's that, like 7-8 years ago? So we're talking $140. The prices in the UK, this is the big thing that I always say, and I'm sure Ultramarks, I'm sure all the other UK subscribers and UK people who know, our VAT, our tax is 20% on everything. So it's scary for new things and the things that you can't get in this country. It's like the new Optimus Prime. Is it I can't think what number it is, but I definitely not
the 40, 44?
Is it 42, 44, something like that? It's £400. £400. So times that by 1.33, whatever it is for the dollar. That's how much it would cost us to get one of them in this country. So the Masterpiece have sort of outpriced themselves, and a lot of the collectors paying.
I feel the same way here with the Masterpiece.
Movie figures I just brought because I liked them at the time, and I just thought I'm collecting them. I've got the space. Newer figures, if I like them, then I'll get them. I don't have to at the moment. I'm being pretty restrained. I don't have to get every single one that comes out. But the new Siege lines, it's fantastic, isn't it? It's so good. The detail's really amazing. It's really good.
Yeah, I think it's good too. Especially they've especially roped in the G1 guys because they've done such a good job of making good updates of these G1 characters that have like such a good reminiscent feel of the G1 character. Like the Double Dealer just looks awesome. He looks great beside classic Double Dealer. Paul asked what started your spark in collecting. So you obviously had Transformers as a kid, and like most of us, you said you got rid of them. What kicked off your desire to start actually being a collector?
It was going out. So as I say, so I was 21 at the turn of the century. So it was about the year before that. We were just going out. I'd gone around, just been out on a normal night out. Ended up going back to a friend's, and he randomly had just a bookcase full. It wasn't nothing mega, but it was really nice. It was really impressive. And then, when that nostalgia just hits you, and I'm standing there and I'm just looking at it and I'm just thinking, wow, there. And that was mainly it. It was seeing somebody else's just a few, just a handful, just a little shelf full. And then again, with the fact going back, that again, I think he had Devastator as well. He must have done, because I always wanted that as a kid. And even though it was my time, it was my generation, as I say, I was 5 and I was 6 in 84 and 85. So loads of us had them. We all had them. We were just a bit too late for Star Wars. So a bit too young for Star Wars, sorry. We just missed that. So it was all Transformers. And even with all the friends at school and like, we still couldn't make a Devastator. We still couldn't. We didn't still have the 6 Constructicons. So I think just seeing that and then being able. I remember when it came, I won it on eBay, and again, so this is how long ago it was. I won a complete one on eBay, and it was like 30 quid. It was nothing. It was a Generation 1, and it had everything. It had all of the weapons for all of the things, and I don't know why, but the seller, and I can't remember his name. Of course, it was years ago. He kept it as Devastator, bubble wrapped it up lovely, and mailed it as Devastator. And I just took it out of the box, and I just sort of looked at it, for them just a minute or two, just in like, wow. First and foremost, I was quite surprised how small it was.
That's right.
but then I was just like, oh wow, it's just, yeah. And then from there, that was it. It was just like, it just grew and grew and grew.
Yeah, see, like here in the States, one thing, they've suckered me into a lot of stuff because I have so many strong memories, and most of us when we were kids, I think the majority of us, I'll speak for myself, you couldn't just get any of them you wanted. So like completing a Devastator or completing any set of something was very difficult back then because you had to see it in the store for one. And like for me, I might get something from a few people on a birthday or a few people on Christmas. So I may get, I don't know, 4 Transformers a year,
Yeah.
So the idea of completing a combiner was, I never completed one. The closest I came was Bruticus.
Yeah.
And I was stoked to finally get Mastermind Creations Bruticus back here because, but walking through like our Walmart or anything and see He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, all that on the shelf. Oh, it's just I'm 10 years old again, and it's fantastic. Let's see, adamantium matrix. Oh, you don't have a power of the primes blast off, so we're going to try to get you one.
All right. Okay. No, I actually don't know.
What's your favorite modern size class? Firebite asks.
That's a great question. And I was actually going to do a video, but I don't know if I'd be upsetting Hasbro because, and I'm sure we've all seen this, of the shrinking leader class size figure, shall we say?
Yes.
That I was just moving a few things around in just the movie 2007 Optimus Prime, which, okay, movie figures, I know some people don't like them or whatever, but that standing next to the leader class new Siege ones, it's like this much taller. It's huge. And it's got like the battery operated everything, mech tech move. And it weighs like loads more. But I think, do you know what? I think the Voyagers are just nailing it for like what you said about Double Dealer. The fact that they can make a triple changer and it actually does genuinely look like three separate things. Whereas some of the older ones, obviously, no, they can't get that amount of detail. But yeah. As soon as I've said that, I've got Titan class Scorponok looking at me over here, and they're just on a different scale. They're amazing. But I suppose because again, they don't release loads of Titan class, and some of the prices for them are amazing. So I'm probably going to go with Voyager, to be fair. I do really like all the Voyager size. They're really good.
Yeah, one thing about the new size classes, I wish they would get away from titling them, because I think it would calm people a lot. Because if you still call them Leader, Voyager, Deluxe, Core, correct, what have you, it for us who have been, and I haven't been seriously collecting that long, but I've been in the community for a while, and to see something called Leader but not, leader size. So I think the it's more of a price class now, or
that's it, price point.
They've focused a lot on scale, so everything scales together the way it should, so you don't end up with a gigantic Optimus Prime or a gigantic anything, and then everything else is much smaller and it's just all out of scale. I think the focus on scale was good, but coming up with a new size class or scale class would have been smart, because the big talk of deluxe cliff jumper being basically legend scale size, that rubs people the wrong way, because we're so used to that being synonymous with deluxe scale. Everything was this 6 inches tall or what have you. And I like scaled bots. I like them to kind of look properly sized on the shelf, but I also totally get that leader class Prime is not leader class size, because he comes with a trailer that you probably aren't going to display him with anyway.
I think they get away with it as well, though, because I don't want to say get away with it, because obviously the toys are still fantastic and people are still buying them, but there's obviously far more accessories that you can attach to them. So at least that brings something else to, as I say, to the fold with it, which sometimes can, let's say, justify some things. But it is because it's that you've nailed it with that. To be fair, you really nailed it with it. They should take away the names of them and just call them exactly that. Just call them the figures, because it does rough people up massively.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I guess the new core class is probably the closest thing to actual legend scale. They have that Prime that just came out.
Oh, of course,
okay. It's all right.
That's the new Kingdom stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and real quick, I just want to say hey to everyone else that came in. I know I missed. I'm trying to keep up with chat here. M3, Rodomus Primal. By the way, good job, Rodomus Primal, last night on trivia. He won. He won. Blitzwing and Octane. Yeah, it's funny here. We have a store called Ollie's around here. It's like a discount bargain store where they buy overstock. So, and last year I could find a ton of Titans Return or whatever, Blitzwing and Octane. They were everywhere. But do you guys have something like that? Like, I know you have Smith's.
Smith is sort of like our main toy retailer now. We did have very briefly Toys R Us. It's not Toys R Us. Yeah, Toys R Us as in the real one. We had that very briefly, but that was, especially where I lived, I think the nearest one was Birmingham, so that was a good 35 miles away. It wasn't, Toys R Us was, obviously, as you've said, how big it is in America, it was nothing like that over here at all. Smith's is the main one. We've got another shop, The Entertainer, but I think what you're referring to is they're like, we've called B&M and home bargains, and exactly like that, it'd be all sort of surplus stuff. And I've been, funnily enough, mentioning this on a couple of videos that I picked up literally it was Power of the Primes, the Dinobots, wasn't it? They were, heavily reduced, less than half price, only a year or so later. And just if you see them, I say this to a lot of people, especially the doubles that I've got, that, if you buy them, then you can trade with people. For exactly that reason, some people might have missed it, and then rather than them having to go on eBay and paying a ridiculous price because someone's kept it, with all these groups, with all these forums and everything that's available, sometimes buying something that you're not 100% necessarily need. I'm not saying going out and buy 3 or 4 Titan class Scorponocks and stopping people get them, because that's just rude, and that annoys me as well. But if it's in like a surplus store and they're just sitting there discounted, you can do that and help other people out. I've done that a few times. Some people have said, "Have you got this?" And I've got a spare one, and then we've just done a trade. So
that's one thing I think I've noticed about this community more than anything, is there are so many people willing to trade, and in quite a few cases give either great discounts or just hand over a figure, maybe the one that's not on your shelf, that you don't want on your shelf anymore. You don't think you'll get value from it, or you just want to make somebody else happy. There's been a ton of that. So I think that I keep that in my mind to outweigh all the scalpers, because I know that there are people out there that do just want to see other people have stuff.
I hadn't even heard of that word until this year. But again, it just explains why things have been so hard to get hold of, and it is quite annoying that you see that. And on the other hand as well, I don't want necessarily people to think that of myself, but obviously because I've got so much of everything, but I wouldn't dream of doing that. And exactly like you've said, I help people out all the time. I did a video not so long ago where I brought that graded Darkwing off a person, and within a couple of days he'd emailed me back. He'd emailed me saying I want it back and have it back, and straight away, push can. He'd realised that he'd made that mistake, and I sent it him straight back. Obviously, give me the money for it, but it's like you say, it's such a nice community that we can and are able to do. I don't even have one boxed Darkwing, and I let him have that one back, no problem whatsoever. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that just like most communities, the bad are loud, and the squeaky wheel gets all the grease, and as I think it's time for the good guys to be loud, and the silent majority of collectors to pop up and go, nah, those guys are just this much. We don't even give them any attention. So I enjoy keeping it positive. I really do.
Good.
Here's a good one. Of all the box art battle scenes, which is your favorite? I'll let you answer first. From our good friend Rudy.
It's the back. I'll go and grab it in a second while you answer yourself. It's the very common one where you've got the Dinobots fighting Insecticons, but it's the Japanese version, because what they do in the Japanese one, they stick Devastator at the bottom. So bear with me 2 seconds.
He's going to snag. He's going to get a collection.
I love the fact, as I say, everybody's seeing this, but they just put Devastator. Where are we?
Here we go.
At the bottom.
There you go.
Love it.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Because Devastator's never normally there in the Hasbro ones. They just put him there, and it just makes it look so much better.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I could see that being a favorite. My favorite, I like the old Mark Watts art that has, the Optimus looking. They all look like their toy representation on the back of the box. I think that's just classic. Not to belittle any of the new stuff. The new Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom artwork is phenomenal. There's some good art there.
That's a great question. I like that. Yeah, have any of you, while the viewers are online, have they heard of the book Legacy? I did a little video on it. There's a book called Legacy, and it's got all the artwork. I'll grab it in 2 seconds. From every single box, from every single Transformers Generation 1 figure. So that's all the Hasbro, all the Japanese, all the European exclusives. So from 1984 right up to 1993, just before Generation 2. It's called Legacy. There is a video on my channel, but I'll just grab it here while you're talking.
Yeah. I had not heard of it, but I will now. Oh, yes, I have. Yeah, I remember that now.
And it's literally, so it's got the characters.
Oh, wow.
but it's also got in here, if I could just, I did a video on it. I could have talked about it forever. Typically, I've picked a rubbish page, but there's the Action Master battle scenes on the back of the Action Master boxes. But then look at that. Look at that. I've just opened that on Black Zarek.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is an amazing book. It's got everything. Oh, there you go. There's the Japanese back of box art scene.
That is gorgeous.
It's such a great book. It's called Legacy.
And what's crazy cool about that, I think the coolest thing about that is it was, and again, I'm not belittling any digital artist at all. I think digital art is art. I very much love it. But like that was painted. That was
that's it,
painted, and that's brilliant. Mark Watts actually, I think, was it my buddy Retro on Retro Now interviewed Mark Watts, the guy who did all the original artwork from G1, and he's got a page. Maybe if I can remember, I'll link it in the description. But you can buy like some of his original artwork. He does like he makes coffee tables and things like that.
Wow.
He patented like a foldable coffee table that can be wall art too, and you can get his original G1 artwork on it. Really cool. Which is your, from TF Cannon Fodder, which is your most prized possession?
That's a great question. So, I've got a couple, to be fair. I think Shockwave, G1 Shockwave, again, never released. Saying that though, I'm sure somebody corrected me and said that MB did a boxed one, but I, as a child, never saw a Shockwave at all anywhere in the UK. So for me, getting hold of him and not, he stands by himself, his legs don't drop down, the hose isn't damaged, the battery cover's intact. So for me, that was a real nice one to get. And then one of the, I say newer ones, it was one I probably got it still over 10 years ago, but just being able to have a Star Saber, because again, never heard anything of that. So I'd say probably a Star Saber from like newer collecting, even though it's still Generation 1. And then, probably a Shockwave from like the original Generation 1. Because everybody loves Optimus and Megatron, and I do love them, and I've got such fond memories of them for Christmas. But their memory, they're separate. They're things to like now, and it's getting things now that I'm talking more about. So yeah, them.
Yeah. Also, Larkin reminded me, Rodomus Primal interviewed Mark Watts, and there is his website. Look at Larkin being the secretary down there. What a great dude. I don't do any of that for his channel, so I'm a horrible friend. So
I'm useless. Yeah. I'm so computer, as I say, I'm terrible. This is the probably the most technically advanced thing I've done in ever. Maybe there you go. So.
Yeah, I love how easy this is now, especially, folks like StreamYard, Zoom, all these guys, they've in all this craziness that's going on, they've managed to somehow keep us all somewhat social.
Yeah, it's very good.
I'm very appreciative of that. Okay, but there's a good one. Where'd it go? Besides G1, what is your favorite Transformers line? So, say Beast Wars, Robots in the Skies, Bayverse. What is it? What's your favorite?
It's probably, I know this sounds like a get out of jail thing, but it probably is the Generations line, because they're really the only ones. Oh no, tell a lie. I did buy the Transformers Prime line. I haven't got any loose, but I did. But I just like the look of them. I think because they were quite original. But it would have to be the Generations. I know it sounds like a get out of jail, because it's still a G1 remake, but.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, of all the things, I think I would probably, I have none, but I think if I was to go back and try to get stuff, I think I would do Robots in Disguise, because I just love their weird cartoony look. I just think I think the toys looked really good for what they were. I loved the fresh design, and I think I would go back and get some of those. I was at a convention not that long ago. We actually had a real live in-person convention, and I ended up getting Armada Prime, which I haven't opened yet. But I was so close to grabbing a couple of the RID figures, because I just think they look so neat. Who is your favorite character overall?
Okay, it's I again, I'm not going to pick the main two for obvious reasons. but I don't know if it's a character or toy or a combination of the two. But it's Scorponok. I just think that anything and everything about him, and thank you Hasbro for doing the Titans version. I just love it. I just think that he's amazing in every. He really is huge. He's genuinely not a nice person, which he shouldn't be. He's an actual real Decepticon.
He's a real villain. 100%.
He probably is a real villain. So probably, that's probably Scorponok.
Now, do you have the new Titan?
I do. Yes, he's there.
What a beautiful figure!
Amazing.
What
Absolutely
a beautiful figure!
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've still not transformed him though.
No, not yet. Is there a Transformer figure you've immediately regretted?
So what does that mean? Regretted buying?
Like bought it and just was like, oh, this is horrible.
That's quite funny, and that's from Simon. And funnily enough, talking about the community, I want to say a big thank you to him as well. Funnily enough, he was my 3rd subscriber on my channel. So this might make you laugh. So this was my first real subscriber because, of course, you've got your 2 friends who helped you set up the channel to do it first. So he was my first sort of real subscriber. And funnily enough, he only lives about 40 minutes away from me. And we've become, we talk quite a lot. If you hear me say, get well soon to Owen in any of my videos, or this is for Owen, that's his lad. So, and that's another reason why my wife's really supportive of me doing the videos, because it makes his day. So this is for Simon.
Awesome.
And we've become quite close. So yeah, again, brilliant things about the community. One that I've brought and regretted. That's a good question. I'm looking around now because it'll be some of the newer ones. And I don't know actually. That I can't even think. I can't think. No, I can't think of any because I still like them, or I wouldn't buy it. Especially with the new range now. With the old range, everybody has this love-hate thing with the Action Masters, with the Pretenders, things like that. But because when I was collecting everything, I needed them to complete the collection. So although they're not the greatest toys, then there's a reason for getting them. So buying the newer figures, I won't just buy anything that I don't like. So I'm quite lucky with that at the moment, that I've not brought anything thought, oh, why have I brought this?
Yeah, I think that's probably true of me too. Like there have been some, but mostly it's like the off stuff that I try randomly to see what I'll think. But most of the time, I'm picky enough to go with like something I think I'm going to like anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, which I think that's how I would buy. I know plenty of folks that get pretty much everything that comes out, and there are probably some regret in there. But Larkin has a question. I don't even know here. If you were a triple changer and could only transform into kitchen appliances, what would it be?
Well,
I have to ask that because he's been kind enough to do all these links in here. So.
Yeah, definitely. So it's got to be, one would have to be a tin opener because I always need food. I've got to eat. So one would definitely be a tin opener. Appliances. So me steamer so I can cook me chicken. I am a PT, so I do eat lots of chicken and lots of protein. And then of course I'm gonna have to be a fork so I can eat myself. So there you go.
There you go. That's exactly the perfect answer, because then you've got all 3 sides of opening your food, cooking your food, and eating your food.
There you go. So that's amazing. Great stuff.
So while you didn't expect an answer, Larkin, you got one.
Excellent.
Yeah. So that's great. If anyone else has any questions, we're going to try to keep this at around 45 minutes just to make it more watchable, because if not, I'll stay on here for 2-3 hours. Soda Stream, one for the UK fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you, with this lockdown going on and everything, and you having more time than usual, both fortunate and unfortunately.
Yeah.
What's your goal for your channel during this lockdown when you can focus on it? What's your plan?
That's a good question. And that's, again, I think the comics was a foresight that I've started already, which you've thankfully brought up. I think, and I started to really enjoy doing it, to be fair. I've only done 3 or 4 of like through the timelines, but staying only along the generation continuation. So I did a Megatron one, a Bumblebee one, a Sideswipe and a Shockwave. The problem is though that every time I do it, I realise I've got another figure that I've missed out. But they're really good, and they're so time consuming. I mean, that Bumblebee one probably took me about 45 minutes to set up. Luckily enough, with some videos, I'm quite lucky that I can just pick them off the shelf, and you might even hear in my voice that sometimes I'm surprised when I turn a box around and it's like, oh, that's not what I expected it to be. So, but because they're much longer videos, and as I said, I've got a 2-year-old daughter, so she has a nap in the day, and my little boy has found Daddy's toy room, shall we say, and he loves it as well. So, yeah, doing some things like that, doing some continuation along the timelines with the figures. And I suppose just getting the confidence up in that as well. The videos, a lot of my earlier videos were like literally 1:20, nothing at all. And again, it's through the viewers, people like yourselves, people like the people who comment saying, oh, you mentioned something. I mentioned something in a hot rod video I did ages ago, just basically saying, oh, you need to look out for the chrome, obviously on the sides of him. And then somebody said, that's a great idea, keep it in. So I always try and make that as part of everything we do now. So definitely go back and do a few videos, redo them to a way that I feel that they look a bit better. And yeah, I suppose just that. I'm always open. If I've got a figure, and I do say this, somebody asked for a Cybertron figure the other day, and ironically enough, I only had one Cybertron figure, and it was that. So I was able to do a video on that. But a lot of the time, it just comes down for people saying, "Oh, I've not seen this one in ages. Can you do this, etc." So that's the main thing. Yeah, trying to keep the one video up a day as well at the moment. It's not a chore. I've said this to Graham, the Collector 75. I've said it to Ultramarcus. I've said to yourself and a few other people that it generally doesn't feel like a chore. Even if I've not done one and I've had a really tired day and I think I need to go and do a video for the channel, it's not like, oh no, I've got to go and do a video. I genuinely want to do it. So just keeping a back catalogue because there's loads of things that we can do and keep covering.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like, and I actually would ask that too. Is a lot of folks think that reviewers or YouTubers or whatever, and again, there's folks that do it. They buy everything and show everything, but I think the vast majority of us, and again, I'll speak for myself, I do it for fun first. Like if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't want to do it. I already work. I don't want,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, folks will ask if I'm going to get a certain figure, and I say no. I've had folks kind of come back like that. You're a reviewer. You should get them. Well, send it to me. I still have to buy the stuff. So, yeah, it's like 99% of us, and even the really big channels out there, most of us we buy all our stuff. So I want to buy stuff I like. So, and I've also gotten like, most of your reviews are too positive. Well, I'll try to buy stuff I like. So it would have to surprise me a little bit to dislike it for the most part. So Borders Dude again asked, who should be the real leader, Rodomus or Ultramagnus?
I don't think Ultramagnus got a fair chance, did he? Let's be honest. And especially with that poster, the new leaders, it came with everything. It came with absolutely everything. And he was a leader for not even half an hour, was it? It wasn't very long at all. So
no.
I don't think he got a fair crack at the whip.
The new series kind of gave him a bad. I think we'll see him again. I'm betting we'll see him again. I don't know how they're going to treat it, but I'm pretty sure I just can't see them getting rid of him so quick. But yeah, Ultramarcus says you can tell you enjoy making your videos. That's a good thing. That's a good sign.
It's funny because some of them as well, as I say, sorry, before you just end it there, there's some of the figures as well. I have I'm not joking. Some of them I've not even transformed. So when I get to do the video, and if it's like one of the newer ones, then I am genuinely enjoying myself transforming or like bringing back some memories of like, oh, I remember this, or I'll look at something and I'll think, I need the instructions. I actually need the instructions because I don't want to damage this. So as you say, you've nailed it. It's still fun. I still enjoy it, and that's all it's about, isn't it? That's all it's about. And as I said, making people happy, making people think like, oh, like I've had loads of people say, oh, that was amazing. I haven't seen that since I walked into Woolworths, which is an old toy store, in the UK since 1992. So things like that, it makes it worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, Rodomus struck a nerve. Ultramagnus was on purpose the temporary leader. That's right. I'm telling you, the odds are he's not wrong. All right, one last question from Mad Matt. What is your favorite Predacon?
Very good. Again, not having had these at all as a child and since now owning a few of them, I really like Dive Bomb. I just think it's quite original. And I like the way, funnily enough, that a lot of the Decepticons are actually animals, aren't they? When you actually look at it and you look back at the back catalogues, a lot of the Decepticons are beasts and animals. And yeah, I think they pull that off quite well, to be fair. And the fact that it just, when it comes to Predacon, his wings just clip on the back. And I know you can see Razor Claw at the front, etc. But obviously it's Dive Bomb's wings which give it the finishing touch, isn't it?
I love a good impressive wingspan on a Transformer. I don't know if you feel like you get more for your money that way because it's just bigger and wider and broader, and
that's definitely got to be. Funnily enough, I'm doing an updated one soon on Victory Saber. That's just such an impressive figure. Such an impressive figure.
Yeah. So, did you watch a lot of the Japanese continuation, Headmasters, Victory, and all that?
Only now. Well, it's only now. Only probably 2007. I think I was when I first managed to realize what it was. There was another book. This one. It's a good job I haven't gone and get commission. I managed to pick this one up. I don't know if you've seen this. You've probably all seen this. And this is a bit like the Mark Belamo one. There we go. And it starts off. You've just got all the normal. Here we go. All the normal figures with all their weapons, etc. But then what shocked me, because I'd never seen or heard of them, was here we go at the end of 87. So you've got all the normal figures here. There's your Scorpion, there's your Headmasters, and then it gets to a page and it says Japan. And then you've got all their official releases there in Japan from 87, which covers the next few pages. So there's your Stepper and all that. So, of course, all these figures I'd never seen of or heard of them. I'm like, what are these figures? I've never exactly that. So then I managed to do a bit of Googling and find out. So the book's brilliant. You've got the years. So you've got all the standard Hasbro figures at first. So there's the year. There's all the Pretenders and everything that we've seen. But then when you get to the end of the year, it changes to Japan and it says it's Super God Master Force. And there's my Grail. There he is, Ultramagnus, Metal Hawk. And yeah, he says when you're going to get one of them. So hopefully soon. Who knows? But yeah, so this book really did, you know, as I said, make me aware of them because I'd never seen them before. So this book helped a lot with.
I'd love for the newer lines to dig into that a little bit, to give us some of the random stuff, like having a new Metal Hawk. I think it would be a cool way to do it. I hope they do. I think it'd be, and I'm thinking my guess is that they're giving us G1ers pretty much everything we ever wanted with Siege, Earthrise, and then moving on to Kingdom and Beast Wars. I'm hoping to see a gradual continuation. Like we go through Beast Wars, maybe we get into Super God Master Force and go further into that and get some of those characters, and even the Cybertron and Energon series, all that. Just give us everything. Give everyone everything they want. But I can't say enough how much I appreciate you coming on. Of course, I appreciate everyone in chat coming in. I was a little concerned maybe with the time because it's earlier here than normal, but we had plenty of folks coming in, had a good conversation, and I'm glad it worked out. Is there anything you want to tell everyone where they can find you on social media across all the platforms before we head out?
Okay, that's a good idea. So I have got an Instagram. I started that not so long ago, but I just want to make sure I get the spelling of it right. So it is Toys R Us as well, but it's Toys_ and then the words are Russ. So it's not the R because I don't want to get done for that. It's ARE Russ. That's my new Instagram. Obviously, thank you very much for putting my links up on there. And yeah,
I'll add the Instagram one as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, of course, yeah, you've got me on Instagram. So yeah, I know it's been 6 months down the line. I still feel myself being relatively new in this, and yeah, still enjoying it. It's still really good fun. Really good fun.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to get to know you. We kind of, again, like I've seen your videos, but it's kind of like everything else. It's like we see a lot of folks' videos, but it's real easy to forget that there's a person behind that, and they're not just doing videos. So I'm glad we got connected, and
we can do it again. We'll do it again sometime, definitely.
Absolutely do it again sometime, especially through the lockdown. And who knows, we may go through another lockdown as well. Who knows what the future holds. But either way, I would love to do it again and hang out. Thanks. I forget who it was that introduced us.
It was Graham, Collector 75.
Yeah, it was Graham. That's right. Graham reached out, so I appreciate that, Graham. That's making the community whole and spreading all the love. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Everyone that's watching now and whoever watches this later, click the links below to subscribe to Russ. And, if you're not subscribed to me, go ahead and click that too. But I appreciate all of you and keep the community awesome. And keep collecting. And on behalf of myself and Russ, take it easy. We'll see you next time.